Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Compliance Online live webinar, implementing a robust and compliant change. Our speaker for today is Ms. Kelly Thomas. She has over 2 decades of CGMP hands-on industry experience in both pharmaceutical and medical device manufacturing operations.
So now we know where we're going. Let's jump right in and let's talk of the basics and like the definition of a change control. And as you can see, it really is all encompassing for the most part. A change refers to any modification in equipment, manufacturing materials, facilities, utilities, design, formulations, processes, packaging, labeling, computer systems, and all associated documentation. So SOPs have to go through change controls, quality manual, forms, all of that are subject to change control. So what are the benefits of having a change control program? And there are numerous, not only just from a compliance aspect, but from a business and financial aspect as well. So careful planning helps to ensure that the change process is started and managed by the right people at the right time. Very important because you want to make sure that not only is it getting the project getting taken from start to finish, but also that the right people with the right level of expertise and the right level of skill set are working on on an issue. And also from the right time perspective, you don't want to start working on your utility system, for example, and have not coordinated that with your production schedule, because then that timing is going to have a huge impact on your ability to run your facility. So now that we've done some background work, let's even talk about the, what the definition is and the benefits of it. Let's jump into the regulatory guidance. And let's start with the FDA, the Code of Federal Regulations. And 21 CFR 210 and 211 govern pharmaceuticals. And in the change control is implied in 211.100A and 211.160. And they pretty much require the same exact thing from all the regulatory bodies around the globe. And we'll go, the wording may be slightly different, but the expectations play out the exact same. And they require that changes in production procedures and process controls be reviewed and improved by the appropriate organization unit and the quality control unit. So now let's talk about elements of a change control. And the change control, as we said, is a critical quality assurance quality system. QA is responsible for managing the change control program, so that means every change control record needs to be reviewed and approved by someone in QA. The change control tasks may be assigned to numerous functional areas, as we said, and they usually are. They're usually not carried out by QA. They're usually carried out by engineering, production, safety, and other functional groups. But your change control SOPs, they have to be developed to ensure the originator initiates the change by completing the change request form and submits that to the CCRB, but then the CCRB is responsible for answering a set of questions to help them determine the risk level associated with this change. So usually classifications are minor, moderate, and major. And the owner is assigned and a detailed implementation plan is developed. Now, sometimes the originator is the owner of the change control, but sometimes the originator is not named the owner of the change control. So you certainly want to make sure that if the owner is not, in the change control review meeting, that they are notified in a timely manner that they have received a new record to own and make sure that they're brought up. So in your SOP, you want to make sure that you've defined what changes are in and out of scope of the procedure. So anything that is in non-GMP areas, those are not governed by change control. So for example, anything in the admin area, so I used the water system a couple times as an example. So if the water system for drinking, so the water fountains and things like that, needed to be upgraded or modified, that would be outside of your change control program because it's not in your GMP area, not used for any analytical testing, and not used in production. Document requirements. All changes that impact quality must be documented, as we said, from not only just the definition, but from the Code of Federal Regulations and the URDLEX and the ICH guidance documents. You want to have the purpose of the change and the justification of the change. So again, you want to be detailed here, and I see this is where people have a pretty shortcoming of just saying, changing process or change equipment or improving the process. You need to be more specific than that. The purpose of the why is this change better than our current situation? All actions that are required as a result of the change should be detailed in the change control record. So this is where you need to have that change control review board be cross-functional and make sure that you have the right people in the room to make this type of decisions and assessments. First thing that is usually the problem, a common issue, is a poor change control record template. I see people who have records that are way too long, so way too many pages for people to complete, and way too cumbersome. So you want to make sure that your change control record is efficient, effective, very simple, and repeatable. And you don't want 57 pages. And I have one organization that had a 57-page change control record because it was all inclusive of every type of change. Maybe you want to consider having a template for engineering change controls, document change controls, and specs, but you certainly, however you do that, make sure that your template is easy. Also, a common issue is inadequate training. Training must be integrated within the change. You can't just make the change and expect the organization to know what to do. So this is hard to track with the manual system, but it certainly is a regulatory requirement that for every change control that your facility and the applicable personnel are appropriately trained. So here are the common metrics that I like to look at as a manager regarding dysfunctional area, and each one of them serves a very specific purpose. So the total number of change requests, one is important just to know volume of work that's flowing through your facility. Also, volume of work helps managers speak to resource needs and how much QA oversight. So this might help you get additional headcount if you use that number correctly. Number of completed change requests completed on time per quarter. And on time is very important because, yes, you can get regulatory observations from not completing your change controls in a timely manner. Number of prematurely terminated change controls, so voided. Again, very important, too, that you're not starting change control records and then voiding most of them because you decided that we're not going to implement them. And time to completion. So let's look at some recent regulatory observations on change control programs. And there's typical major GMP deficiencies related to the CMS include the failure to evaluate the FDA filing requirement. So whether to file a prior approval or changes being affected, or to report the change in the next annual report. So that's typically a finding. Failure to file changes with the FDA altogether. Failure to evaluate and or justify whether equipment system requalification is needed to support an equipment system change. and whether process revalidation, stability studies, or equivalency studies are required to support a process and/or process parameter change.